When I think about all the different versions of Windows that have come out over the years, my favorite has definitely got to be Windows 98. Mainly because it's the first version of Windows I ever used, and I think it's just kind of cool. So let's get right into it. Windows 98 was released in the summer of 1998, and it was going to be the last version of Windows to be built on DOS, but it ended up not being. The last version of Windows to be built on DOS ended up being Windows ME 2 years later. Windows 98 was a huge success for Microsoft. It sold 25 million by February of 1999 and became the most popular, became the best-selling piece of software of 1998. So first thing you gotta do with Windows 98 is you gotta install it. So let's get to that. Installing Windows 98 takes quite a while since this predates Windows PE. Once it has completed installing, you are greeted with the sounds of success. That intro tune. It'll be going through the head on the day I die. It is just so catchy. I love it. Once it's installed, you're still not quite done. You're still going to need to go through the nightmare of installing drivers. So let's do that. That's better. So, what's new in Windows 98? Well, there are lots of things that were new in Windows 98 that are now commonplace these days, but were pretty new and exciting at the time, such as multiple monitor support, a maintenance wizard, which allows you to schedule stuff like defrags, optimizer, better hard disk optimization and stuff. You had Windows Update, which can automatically download updates for you, which was pretty new at that time. We have Active Desktop, which allows you to have like web pages and stuff as your desktop. Windows 98 also included some new accessibility features for people who have trouble reading computer screens and whatnot. You had one of my favorites, which was themes. These are like cool desktop themes. These themes would have like custom wallpapers, and they would change the colors around, and they'd have their own screensavers, and there'd be all these like sound effects and stuff that would play obnoxiously. There were several included with the base Windows 98 installation, but there were even more that came with the Plus pack. Well, more on that later. The themes that came with the base installations were the ones that came with 95 Plus. My favorite theme is probably the Inside Your Computer theme. Also got this thing called Web TV, which allowed you to like watch TV shows if you had a TV tuner installed on your computer. Windows 98 also came with Internet Explorer bundled in. This did lead to some controversy since Microsoft basically created a monopoly over the browser market at the time. Why bother installing another browser when Internet Explorer is already installed? Internet and Microsoft already had a pretty big monopoly over the operating system market at that point, and this did lead to antitrust charges against Microsoft. If regular Windows 98 isn't enough for you, there's also Windows 98 Plus. Windows 98 Plus adds a bunch of new things, my favorite of which is the new desktop themes, and some of them are of comics characters. It's like Peanuts, Garfield, Doonesbury, and Foxtrot, as well as a couple others. There was also McAfee Virus Scan, which was included with the Plus pack, as well as this deluxe CD player, trial of this golf game. There were several other games that came with Plus 98, like Lose Your Marbles, which is like a matching game, as well as Spider Solitaire. I'll talk about these more when I do a video on Plus 98 later down the road. Plus 98 also came with a program called Picture It Express, which was a basic image browser and editor. There was also this natural art screensaver, which is kind of neat, I guess. My favorite part of the Plus pack definitely has to be the new themes and screensavers. So yeah, that's just about it for Plus 98. I do hope to go into more detail on this when I do a video on Plus. All the different Microsoft Plus packs. There was also Plus 95 and Plus XP. So that video will probably be coming in the not too distant future. I also want to talk about why I like Windows 98 and why it's my favorite version of Windows ever. That main reason is because it was the first version I ever used, and I have just quite a bit of nostalgia for it, even though it was pretty much obsolete when I used it, because it was on an old ThinkPad, IBM ThinkPad 600E that my dad gave me just to kind of play around with when I was about 5 years old, and I just loved messing around with computers, I always have. And most of what I did in Windows 98 was mess around with Paint and just like type random stuff into Word. Wonder why a red line would appear underneath it. As well as just watch screensavers. Always love screensavers. So yeah, that's just about it for Windows 98. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. It means a lot to me, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.